This is from a novel titled A Deal in Her Pocket, and it's one of the Cockeyed Optimists books. It's 1953, and Star is the ruler, the Zia of Xingyi, a fictional country in the South China Sea. In this bit, she and her lawyer, Mac, make the deal that's the subject of this novel. In Asia, Mac's go-to cocktail was the hanky-panky. Local gin was available throughout the region, usually of abysmal quality, but any paint-thinner tang could be cloaked by mixing in a decent sweet vermouth, plus Fernet Branca, an herbal-flavored Amaro. He packed bottles of these in his traveling drinks case. With an expert twist of the wrist, he poured from the metal cocktail shaker into a rocks glass. He dropped in a curl of orange peel for garnish. Because it was her first one, he squeezed in a little orange juice into her glass as well. Nevertheless, Star grimaced. It tastes like cough medicine, pungent and bitter. Italian Amaros were originally a health tonic. Give it a chance. He raised his glass to her. And what did Amma and her granddaughter make of Oakland, California? How's Stephen and his wife? At the end of their tether, 2 kids in diapers, Stephen handed the baby to Amma on the doorstep. I'm not sure Carol meant to hire 2 live-in servants, but she got used to it fast. They both work, you recall. I don't know how Stephen can manage without staff. And you stopped over in Honolulu on the way to see your wife, Jessica. For a moment he didn't reply. His glass was empty, but he didn't want to get ahead of her. He'd perfected the best way to serve these things. Mix a batch in the pitcher and then pour into the shaker with ice and shake up each round. She took a bigger sip. Mac, are you okay? Not really. He got up and poured from the pitcher into the shaker, added ice, and capped it. Over the regulation 10 vigorous shakes, he said, in Honolulu, on the way out, I parked Amma and Bayani at a hotel and went home. Jessica had just collected her final paycheck. With the war over, the hospital was cutting back on nursing staff. She'd be certain they'd keep her on, but instead she got the chop. She swore she'd get another job. I was supportive, helped her make lists of places to apply, retirement homes, school nurse, doctor's offices, etc. Then I had to leave. I flew with Amma to San Francisco, dropped them off with Stephen, and then on to Washington. He poured into his empty glass. She made no objection when he topped off hers. It was 4 weeks later when I routed through Honolulu again on the way back here. And when I opened the door, the apartment was empty. She had a houseplant, one of those tropical Hawaiian things, in a pot on the kitchen table. It was dry and dead. She'd been gone for days, probably left the moment I turned my back. There was a note for me beside the dead plant, a Dear John letter. The old story, like a cheap novel. She met another man and left with him. It was a relief to say it out loud. Mac, I'm so sorry. How awful. What are you going to do, track her down, divorce her? I need her address to file. And she didn't leave one. Tennessee. A big state, I guess. Yeah, she'll turn up again. Bad pennies always do. If not, in a few years I can divorce her for desertion. Her glass was empty again. The gin lay pleasantly heavy on him, relaxing constraints and loosening his tongue. We had nothing in common. Our arguments were idiotic. I'm ashamed to remember them. You must have loved her once. War fever, that's all it was. They told me I ought to marry before shipping out, and she wanted to catch a man in uniform. Every girl did in 1942. Mentally, he prodded his heart, testing its tenderness. I'm more surprised than hurt. I hate being blindsided, and she stabbed me in the back. A marriage is a contract, damn it, a deal. And she didn't stick to it. She got up and imitated him, dumping out the half-melted ice from the shaker, adding fresh ice from the bucket, and then pouring from the pitcher before capping the shaker. Go easy there, Cookie. I mixed a full batch, but you don't have to drink if you've had enough. You need to drown your sorrows. She poured. What are you going to miss most about marriage? There had to be some upside. Well, it's easier to have sex if you're married. You don't have to find somebody. Somebody's always there. I miss sex. Oh, God, had he actually said that to the Zia? He was really lit. I just realized, you called me Cookie. When she gurgled with laughter like that, she became not pretty exactly, but carefree. Too soon she became serious again. At least you had sex. I'm not sure I ever really did. How could you not notice? She stared down into her glass, tipping the pungent amber fluid this way and that. During the war, I was raped. Oh, Star! He reached to take her free hand, the first time he'd ever taken it except in greeting. I'm sorry. She didn't pull away. It was so fast I almost think it shouldn't count, but there was this huge follow-on. I got pregnant, got infected, had to have an abortion. She spoke without emotion, still a soldier. A hot pity filled his heart. It shouldn't be like that. Sex should be fun. I can't imagine it. He must be under the influence. With astonishment, he heard the words coming out of his mouth. Look, I can't help. Would you like me to, show you in bed? She stared at him, the gray eyes wide, but not in the least frightened or offended. Her hand was still warm in his own. This was a special woman. She proved it with her very next words. You mean a friendly fuck? Exactly. We're friends, right? I'm the Zia of Sing-Yi, Mac. I can only do this if there are no strings. You're boffing Star, not Stella Maris. Strictly open-ended. 50-50. You scratch my back, I scratch yours. He grinned. Actually, that sounds like what we both need. Tidy and simple, a little circumscribed space, fenced off. A transaction. A deal. I'll teach you about sex. And I should teach you something. 50-50, remember? What do you think I should know? She laughed. I bet you don't know how to cheat at cards. You can do that? I learned how to stack a deck before I was 10. My father made his subjects quit piracy, but they were still born thieves. You wonderful woman! Yeah, teach me, it's a bargain. She chortled and reached for the pitcher, not bothering with the ice. Deal. But sex is messy. Can we stick to the bargain? I know the answer to that. You have paper? He took out a fountain pen. She fetched paper and an envelope. He had to make an effort to keep his writing even and avoid misspellings. Okay. In black and white. She looked it over, sipping the last inch of diluted cocktail. The arrangement between the undersigned is acknowledged to be impermanent. Rights, compensation, or emotional involvement are explicitly precluded. It may be terminated by either party without consent upon prior notice. It does not entail a future commitment in any way, shape, or form. I like the prior notice. No more Jessica situations. And only one page. You can lawyer even when you're tight. She plucked the pen out of his slackening fingers and signed. He signed too. She folded the document, sealed it in the envelope, and signed across the flap so that any tampering would be evident. He signed below her and then held out a hand. Okay, Cookie, shake. Her grip was mannish, very strong. A deal. Now what? He levered himself to his feet, a little unsteady, and grinned. How about we take off our clothes? She stood up, rock steady, and he realized that she was better seasoned than he thought. Her smile glinted with naughtiness. The bedroom's this way. Suddenly he was up for it, ready for her. He leaned to kiss her, and she didn't retreat.